Okay, let's talk just really quick about how we listen to a fugue. Okay, and we've done a little bit of this so far, but I really want to focus in on this idea of the subject, which is what we're going to be talking about in this section. So, when you listen to a fugue, you can kind of think of it like a little bit of a game. Okay, so the game is to follow the subject. Okay, that's really what we do. And there's a lot of enjoyment in just listening to a fugue and trying to find the subject all over the place and just think, oh, how did he do that? How did he make it happen again here? What did he do? Is that at an octave? Is that at a fifth? Is it in a major key now? What's happening? So I thought, just as an example of that, I want to walk you through this fugue. So this is Bach Fugue in G minor. And I'll give you the file for this just in the next lecture. But I'm going to do this really annoying thing that I hate it when people do, but I'm going to play this and I'm going to talk over it. Because I just kind of want to point out what goes through my head when I'm listening to a fugue like this, okay? So, first of all, let me just play for you the subject, okay? The first part of the subject, I should say. So here's the subject. Okay? That's the main thing. Okay, now the thing to kind of latch your ear onto is these first kind of two bars. That's the easiest to recognize when we're listening to this piece. And you'll notice the subject really kind of conforms to the ideas that we know about with a good melody. Sentence structure, there's not always a period, but there's usually a period, but there's an antecedent consequent relationship. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But for now, I'm going to just hit play on this, and I'm going to tell you when I hear the subject popping out. And well, actually, before I do that, let me just point out kind of the second entry of it. So here's the beginning, right? And then right here where I stopped, we get it again. But it's not the same notes, right? Here it's G, D is the first two notes, and here it's D, A. So it comes in a fifth higher, or a fifth lower. So the entrance the second time is at a fifth. So you'll see like different little playing around with it like that. So I'm going to hit play and I'm going to talk through it. Here we go. Okay. So we're off to the races and our subject is happening. Here we're listening to it and we're thinking, okay, this is the subject. Okay, we get the subject at a fifth. So we have two voices going now. Something a little different. There it is again. We have the subject again, this time at the original key, but down an octave. So now we have three voices going. Now we get it in the big low, low in the bass. Now it feels like we're doing something else here. Maybe we've lost the subject. Oh, there it is again. There it is. Now a little forward spunning. There it is again. In a major key now. Some more playing. We're in kind of a different section here. There it is again. But but something's very different. We've switched modes now. We've heard this before. This is using some of those techniques we've just talked about. There it is again. We're back in minor. Again, we're firmly back in G minor, heading to the end. Oh, but we end on a G major. Typical. It's called a Picardy third. I'd have to look if that's really a Picardy third. It probably is, where we do a whole piece and then like in G minor and end on G major. Long story about that we'll talk about another time. But that's kind of how we listen to fugues like this. It's kind of a game, and it's really quite enjoyable if you get good at listening for the subject. So keep that in mind as we keep going. Now, a couple other things about this. The subject, so we have different voices that enter. So a voice is considered kind of a different line that has the subject going in it. Usually in fugues, we get up to 4 or sometimes 5 voices. You can kind of see, like down here, we have this is a voice, this is a voice, this is a voice. Here, so we really only have 3 going at once here. The flags and the direction of the flags really kind of tell you. Let's find a spot where we have 4 voices going. There's 3 there. I really only see 3 at any given spot. Here we go. Here's 4. So this is a voice in the bass. This is a voice. And then this is a voice. And then this is a voice. So there's 4 voices happening there. So, and it might get up to 5 voices at some point. Here, clearly we have 4 voices. But that's what voices are. Voices are different kind of lines in the fugue. The difference between fugues and inventions is that an invention tends to have 2 voices, sometimes 3, and fugues tend to have 4 or 5. Inventions, like we talked about before, are it's kind of a blurry term. It's not super defined what an invention is, but I tend to think of inventions as a little bit of a simpler fugue. And it's very common in a fugue and less common in an invention to start with the subject by itself and then the second entry being a fifth away. That's really common in fugues, less common in inventions. Inventions, the second entrance is usually at the octave or the unison, the same notes. Okay, so let's go in and talk a little bit more about the subject.